Right here. To get started, download the Odyssey app today. That's AUDACY. And search for WPHT. Available for Philadelphia listeners only.
10 seconds to intro.
Thank you.
This program is paid for by Investor Schooling. All opinions or statements expressed on the program are solely those of Investor Schooling or their guests and do not reflect the opinions of WPHT or Odyssey.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
You're live.
Live with your host, Larry Steinhaus, CEO of Investor Schooling.
Larry Steinhaus. You wish. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Investor Schooling Live. You should stop banging on the side of your radio set because this accent is real. Yes, like every other job in America, Investor Schooling Live is now presented by an immigrant. My name is Omri Morad, and I am necessary to Investor Schooling until they invent a machine to replace me. I'm also known as the worst landlord ever, so please join us and do the opposite of what I tell you to do. We assure you that you haven't reached a laptop in India, as we are a local financial... Why are you laughing? Let me finish. We are your local financial institute dedicated to your success. We are broadcasting to you from a brick and mortar building, the Investor Schooling headquarters in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Write down this address because this is the gate to your financial independency. No, I have
Can
more.
I tell you so many grammar mistakes that you have in there already? But go ahead.
I know, that's why it's funny.
I know, that's why it's funny.
So we are located at 108 Corporate Drive East, Langhorne, Pennsylvania. It's 108 Corporate Drive East in Langhorne, Pennsylvania. Please don't forget the East as you will arrive somewhere else and we won't come to pick you up. Please open your browser and go to investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com to book your free. Yes, it's free. Thursday night class that will blow your mind away. Today with me in the studio, laughing out loud, is Dr. Debbie Anderson, the smartest person around. And she'll make sure I'm not saying anything stupid. And of course, she's already failed to do so. But don't worry, as I already booked 5 new immigrants for next week to do her job for less. Be aware, we are a live show and we are expecting your call any minute. Now at 855-939-1137. And I'm obligated to say it also like that. It's 855-939-1137. We promise that you'll be answered by someone with no accent, our amazing producer Glenn, who is much better and more knowledgeable than Alexa, Siri, or Hey Google. Call us and ask us how an immigrant managed to succeed more than me, an American. Or sign up to this Thursday night class at investorschooling.com and check firsthand how I did it. Again, our number is 855-939-1137.
Sexy voice.
That's 855.
There you go.
939-1137. And already we have someone on the line shouting at our producer. That's Larry S. from California. How are you, Larry? No, it's not him.
Okay, so you got to take the going live soon off the thingy.
I really believed he will be on the line by now and shouting at us, you know.
Oh, I don't even know if he even knows we're on.
Yeah,
Did
I
you
hope
take the thing off?
I hope he did. I hope he did.
Oh, you never did.
I did. I just fixed it. It's too much. I'm not Larry Steinhaus.
Oh, there it goes.
It's
there
hard.
It goes.
It's
Now
hard.
done.
It's not. Yeah, it's not easy.
You're just not as talented as him, I guess.
I agree. I agree. I'm not as talented as him.
Well, it was quite an intro, Omri. I like that.
Okay, I'm very happy.
Yeah, it was good. A couple little, like I said, grammar things, but I thought it was very good.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
And
Kimmy liked it.
Kimmy liked it, and I like how you included Glenn on it too. And you can get 5 people to and you got 5 people who can replace me. Just 5? It'll only take 5 people, 5 immigrants
To replace you?
Yeah. Just
Yeah,
5?
I wrote 6 and I changed it to 5.
Yeah. I wonder what I do that's even that important here sometimes. You know. I was just having this discussion the other day with Ken. We're like, what the heck do we do here? That's so important?
What's your position at Investor Schooling?
I don't know.
I don't know. Everything. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I feel like I'm always here. I think maybe because I am, right? So I have an interesting thing to talk about.
Sure.
So we had a student, and so some of you guys know that I do real estate notes, and I just received a tape from somebody about a week or so ago, and I sent out a notice to a couple people who were interested in investing with me. And one of the people I reached out to was a older student of ours. He hasn't been in it a while. His family has some medical issues going on, and he's trying to redirect his life and go do, a couple other things. Anyway, so what was great, so I reached out to him and I included him on this mass list that I had sent out. And he reached out to me, I think it was yesterday or the day before, and he reached out to me. He's like, "Hey, Deb," and I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I don't want to say his name on the air, but he's like, I have this deal. I was wondering if you would be interested in. And I'm like, "Tell me a little bit more about this deal." And he says it's a 2-family house that's in Philly. It's a duplex in Philly because he knows that I have some properties in Philly, and he's thinking it would be a seller finance deal. It's one of his clients. He doesn't want to buy the property, but he would be interested in having like either a wholesale fee or a finder's fee or something, which I thought was pretty interesting. And I thought it was nice because he specifically called me up because he said I was always nice to him at the school. So apparently my job there is to be really nice to people because then they think of me when these things come up. Look at that look. Omri's giving me a look like, oh, okay.
So we used to serve alcohol during class. We're not anymore.
Only
No,
on
we
Wednesday
love.
nights.
We love Debbie. We love. Sometimes Debbie is very harsh on first impression, but we just love Debbie.
Yeah, I could be.
She's so caring.
Yeah, but no, I thought it was really neat. So I have a possible duplex deal coming up in the next. So I'm going to see
I'm
if I
so
can
happy.
go. I asked him if I could go see it in the next couple of days because I'm going to be out of town for a few days. In a couple days, so I'm hoping that in the early part of this week, we can go take a look at it and maybe, seller finance deal. It's already paid off. There's already a tenant in the one place. Although I think it sounds like it's a little bit under rented. So, but hey, maybe that's a possibility. Cause
That's the main problem. When you buy rented properties, we just had a 23-unit deal,
okay,
if you remember, outside of Philly, and
Okay.
the rents are so low that it doesn't matter what we try to do to make the deal make sense. Every way we switched it and we said now the seller will finance more and we try to deal with the percentage and all that, it didn't work out.
okay,
In the first, I would say half a year until you will be able to put tenants in higher rent,
yeah,
we'd figure out that every month we would lose money.
okay.
So it doesn't make any sense. But you just mentioned something, which is Philly. And I know you're dealing with some problems with a tenant in Philly.
I am.
So we always talk like second or third hand about how the procedure go in Philly.
Okay.
Educate us because now you have the knowledge.
So
How fast is it? People say months. I don't believe it can be.
I think yes and no is the answer to that because you can go right into an eviction, but well, that's not true. Actually, you have to go into the Philly eviction diversion program before you can evict.
Which is the mediator.
Yes, but I don't know if they actually mediate anything, to be honest. But with the Philly diversion program, you find out how far behind under the rent, and it's connected to this thing called a targeted assistance program or a targeted program assistance, TFA or TPA or some, I forget what it is. But they're part of the same thing, right? So you have to do the Philly eviction diversion program. So you go into Philly and say, okay, I want to evict this tenant for non-payment. Okay, and then they say, did you fill out the Philly eviction diversion program? And you say no, and they're like, well, you have to do that first. So then you go through all that stuff to get through that, and then it takes a couple weeks for that to get through because I had trouble because for some reason the internet wasn't working, or that wasn't the internet, it was their website wasn't working, so I couldn't put in my bank information in there, and I had to get on the phone with somebody in Philly, and then they walked me through it.
It's
and
what they
yada.
call the Section 4.
I don't know.
Okay.
It was called the Philly diversion program.
Okay.
Anyway, so then did the Philly diversion program, and then the Philly diversion program is the part that is the application. That's it. They don't tell you that in Philly, but that's what it is. It's the application part. And then the TFA or TPA or whatever it is the part where they actually pay you. That's what that part is. So they're supposed to be working with the tenant. You have to give the tenant notice. You have to let the tenant know about this program. And I actually CC'd my tenant with the lady so that they can get together because my tenant was not responding to anything. And I'm like, look, this is your last chance. I'm doing everything I can. Otherwise, I'm going to throw you out on your hiney. So we got everything squared away, and I got approved, and I ended up getting a month and a half or 2 months rent, something like that. So of course now she's behind again. So, but it's a one-time program, right? So they brought her up current, and she didn't pay, and that's kind of where I'm at. So then I went back into Philly, and you have to have all your documentation because otherwise, you know, your rental suitability and your rental permit, and I don't know. There's like a bunch of different whatever things that you need. And then it took 3 weeks to get a court date. So I have a court date for the end of October to kick her out on her butt. However, so tomorrow we're going to go see, well, you know what sparked this actually is this past Thursday, we had some students who are public adjusters, and they were talking about all the things to do for your investment.
It was
properties.
amazing class, yes.
It was a really amazing class. It was very good. And I remember when they did their presentation a couple years ago, they offered anybody to say, hey, let me look at your insurance policies for your rental policies for your investment properties. And I sent them all my stuff, and I found that I was paying a lot of money for really bad coverage. And then they set me up with a better broker, and then now my properties are covered much better. So, you know, I thank them for that because I didn't even think about that. But one of the things that they said Thursday is go into your properties and inspect them. And I'm like, you know what? I haven't inspected this property. Here she's not paying. Let me go see what's going on.
So you gave her a 24-hour notice.
I gave her notice. I actually, that night during class, I texted her and I said, I'm going to be around Monday. Are you available to...
Did she answer?
She did. She said, I can't do Monday. And I said, how about Sunday? And she said, Sunday I could do.
Okay.
So that's why we set up for tomorrow at noon. So I want to go. And since we have... So it took 3 weeks to get the court date after this eviction diversion program and the TFA paying. But it only took 3 weeks. You know, so Larry's always like, you know, it takes you 6 months or whatever. That's not... Well, Larry always says it's, you know, evict on the 15th. And people are always saying in Philly it takes months. And that's not true. So it really isn't. Because once I was able to get a court date, the court date was set for 3 weeks.
We
So-
always hear those stories. People coming from New Jersey and said it take 8 months to evict someone.
But I think it's because they wait, you know,
They
wait.
don't know the rules.
Yeah, they wait 5 months
Exactly.
to do it.
You
and
can
then-
do it. Yeah,
So,
exactly.
you know, if they don't pay on the 15th, you evict on the 15th.
And I can tell you that I was in front of few judges in my life.
Yeah.
When you come and you file, sometimes on the 10th, and you come and you stand in front of a judge and you say they owe 1 month or they owe less than 1 month, the judges don't like that. They look at us many times and they think that we are impatient, or they think that we try to get rich with late fees, all those things, which are completely not true.
Yeah.
If we wait when somebody is not paying, it many times put us in a deeper hole,
Yeah.
and then it's very, very hard to get out.
Right. So things that people don't understand is that we as landlords still owe money on this property, you know what I mean? Or still have other things to pay on the property. Like we still have to pay our insurance. None of that goes away. The property taxes, none of that goes away. You still have house lighting that you need to pay for. You know, there's a lot of things that we are responsible for paying for, whether the tenant pays us or not. And that can get very pricey. So, you know, when you're waiting 3 months to go and evict, you know, you're already in the hole 3 months. Why would you wait that long to start the eviction process? It's like
Exactly.
do it and get it moving.
Exactly. And we had Judge Levine here the other day,
So, yeah.
and he actually explained. And I think many tenants don't know that, because when they get the complaint on their door by the constable, they immediately say, "Oh my God, somebody is evicting me." I can't tell you how many, because it's many occasions that I filed against the tenant. They got the notice from the constable and immediately they paid.
I am really hoping that when we go tomorrow, that she will make a payment and give me the payment. And I hope she does.
Me too.
And
Me
then
too.
I would be happy to postpone that court date to November, because her lease. I'm going to tell her tomorrow. I'm going to bring it in paper that I'm not renewing her lease, because as of October, it's 90 days. Like I only am required to give her, I
Yes.
think, 30 or 60, but I'd rather give her enough time to look for something else. But you know, I'm really hoping that tomorrow she gives me. I'd be happy with half of what she owes me, just because I just want to get paid from her. But she has been
Anything, I know.
You know, she paid on time for the first 2 months, and since then she has been late every other time. So I'm just done. I'm just done. So I want to see what the inside of the property looks like, to see what needs to be redone, if something needs to be repainted, if, you know, the carpenters. I mean, I have no idea what.
I call it goodwill. If I see some goodwill from the tenant, anything, I'm good. I filed 2 weeks ago because the tenant refused. So this tenant, he lives in the house for 2 years now. Okay? In the lease, he is obligated to take the utilities on his name. He took the electric for some reason that I never understand completely. He couldn't take the water bill. Maybe
Okay.
he has a previous debt with the water company. I have no idea. So the water bill stayed on my name. And I, let's say, sat quietly and accepted that instead of forcing it with the lease as long as he paid. In the last half a year, I think more, every week, it's another call. When are you paying? When are you paying? When are you paying? Until a point that the water bill reached, I think, $400. And the guy don't answer, and I don't get any response. So, I mean, I don't want to be stuck with that. And then I was in the car one day with my kids. At 7:30, I get an automated voicemail from American Water that our water is going to be shut off and this address. And my daughter is like, why are they closing our water? And I started to explain to her. And I said, you know what? That's enough. So I went to court and I filed. And the guy, until this point, I think paid 75% of the debt. And I postponed the hearing for next month. And I believe that by next month, everything will be done. And the hearing will be canceled. And everybody will live happily ever after.
So she is supposed to give me, I think that the water goes to the place, and I told them in the past, and it's in the lease, that if they don't send it to me, that I'm not responsible for it. So, you know, like I think the way I have it is that I pay for the first $75 and then they pay for the rest, but they need to give me a copy of the bill. And I have not received a copy of that bill in a couple months, so I don't even know what that water bill is like in Philly. So that's the other thing that I'm a little frustrated about, but I don't know. I'll cross that bridge when I get to it, because I mean, even if the bill's $400, I'll just deal with it. But I am just so you have to shut that thing off. Do you see that?
Yeah.
You have to shut that off.
We should.
Yeah, you should. Well, just switch it so that.
That's what bothering you?
Yeah, it's like completely throwing me off. So one of the things that we have a thing here so that we can talk to our producer Glenn, but somebody else is on it and it keeps going off and it's making me a little. No, you have to keep it open so that
I'm good. Don't
Okay,
worry.
All right, as long as you can see what's going
The
on.
tech would work.
Okay.
Or we wouldn't be off air and we wouldn't know and we'd just keep talking to each other. Why not? Why not?
Okay.
So I want to remind everybody that we are a live show. And if you don't understand my accent, Dr. Deb here, so she will be more helpful in that. Our number is 855-939-1137.
Do the sexy voice on. Do the sexy voice.
That's 855-939-1137. And we also want you to come and join us for Thursday night class. And go to investorschooling.com and register. And we'll be very, very happy to see you on Thursday. And you will meet the people that are very excited to see your success. So again, investorschooling.com. Please register to this Thursday night class. And it will be extremely fun.
Yep, and we start at 7 and we go till about 9, and we have a new speaker coming in. Well, not a new speaker, but we have a special speaker coming in for Thursday. So so I won't ruin the details for that, but definitely come in on Thursday. It'll be a good class.
Okay, I don't even know what's going on Thursday.
Well,
I'm excited.
Yeah, it'll be a good class.
Good.
I'm sure it'll be a good class.
So we are having stories about landlord and tenant today, me and you.
Yes.
I will give you a story right now.
Tell me a story.
So I have a potential tenant that want to move in the unit that I have available in Norristown right now.
Yeah.
And she's a Section 8 tenant that is moving in from Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Okay, so she's coming from Pittsburgh. She's moving in here. She's a Section 8 tenant. She gave me the voucher. You always need to ask the voucher. Always. When you get the call and the tenant asks, do you accept Section 8 voucher? You always said, yes, can I please see the voucher?
Okay.
You need to see if the voucher is valid. You need to see if the voucher is for the right amount of bedroom. And because many times the tenant can say one thing and the voucher said the opposite thing.
Okay.
So she called me, she showed me, she texted me the voucher, everything seemed legit. And I asked her to fill up an application. She sounded okay, everything is well.
On Zillow, when you say fill out an application, what, on Zillow? You still
Yeah,
Zillow?
I still do the application with Zillow.
Okay.
I tell you why I use Zillow. For many people to pay the $35 for an application, it's a significant amount. Sometimes, because I request an application for each adult in the house, each income in the house, it's more than one. Sometimes it's more than two. So it become a lot of money. So with Zillow, once they fill up the application, they can use the same application to apply to any other house for, I think,
30 days. I think.
something like that, maybe 30 days.
30 days.
So they do one application and then they can send it to everybody.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm doing it. Because almost every property, once it's for rent, will appear at Zillow. You post it everywhere else at renters.com and Trulia, and also it appears in Zillow because they all connected to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm saying, if it doesn't work for you, if it doesn't work for us, you can always use your application with any other house in Zillow.
You know why I like Zillow, and I think you mentioned it. So I used to use what we have here at the school, which is there's something wrong with it, and then I would purposely go into paedocket.com,
Yes.
.gov, and I would do a check, like to see if they have any court cases pending, and that's
Of
when I'd
course.
find out if there's any evictions or any other things. But my one tenant, I missed something because it didn't show up, and
And
I think So
Zillow has the same problem.
Oh, really?
Same problem. Things are missing.
Okay, because this guy's name was, he had two first names, so I tried them in a couple different combinations, and like it just missed something, and it was a big thing to miss, and it was just like, so it turned out that he had gotten released from prison something like 4 weeks before, 3 weeks before, and if I knew that, I would never in a heartbeat ever would have brought them on because it just God only knows. So but I didn't see it because it never came up in PAE docket, which is where he was released from. And from
No,
Pennsylvania.
you said it didn't appear in PAE docket or in the application.
So I did, this is before I used Zillow.
Okay.
So I had a manual written application.
Yes.
And then I looked everything up on PAE docket, and it did not come up.
It must have been a different name or something because everything appeared on PAE docket.
It did not. So I had a copy of his, and that was probably part of it because he didn't have a PA license. He had a Puerto Rican. It was a Puerto Rican license or like ID card, and I used, and he had three names on there, like, but two of them were the first name, like two first names. His first and last name were first name like sounding names, So, but I tried all different combinations, and it didn't come up. And like I said, if I knew it, I never would have brought them on. And then I did, and then it was nothing but a hassle. I think they only stayed 2 or 3 months, and then they caused problems, whatever, blah blah blah. So since then, I started using Zillow. Because I remember you saying, and then on Zillow, you could see the criminal background check, and you can see their credit and all that. Now, I want to, since we're talking about this, I want to throw it out there that you cannot say no to a tenant because of a criminal background or because of bad credit, right? Because I don't think you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
But you can say that there's because of some other reason or some other cause or whatever. But I mean, and so I'm not saying go look at Zillow, and if they have, beat somebody up in the past, then bring them on. And I'm not saying don't bring them on. I'm just saying that Zillow provides you the information for you to make an informed decision as to whether or not this is the type of person you want in your property or they meet your criteria.
And they also identify the identity of the person to make sure they are not lying.
Yeah.
That it's who they are. And it gives you the credit score, which is important.
Yeah,
the credit score itself, it's not the most important thing.
But you can check to see how many times they paid.
They were late, exactly.
Yeah, how many times they were late.
Exactly.
So I mean, if they have a low credit score, but they have always paying on time, or they miss one
and they
payment,
have a debt of $70,
then who cares?
Exactly.
But if they're late, 60% of the time or 70% of the time, that gives you an idea of what you're going to be dealing with.
Yeah, I don't want to get my rent late. That's exactly the point.
Right. So use it as use Zillow or whatever you use as a guide to help you make a decision as to whether that person meets that criteria.
I completely agree.
Yeah, but you can't use it to say, well, no, he has a record, so no, I can't bring him on. That's not how that works. I just want to make sure that we're clear on that.
We have our method that we teach in the school,
Yeah.
which in one phone call, you can get 90% of what you need to know from the tenant.
Yeah.
You just need to ask the right questions.
Yeah.
Why are you moving? Have you let your landlord know that you are moving? Right?
Well,
All those things.
I have the list actually.
You have the list of the questions?
I have it's like
Okay.
5 questions. Let me bring it up because I
So,
send it off to people.
I
all
just
the
want to
time.
complete my story because I was in a conversation with her, and then I asked her, the Section 8 tenant that's coming from Pittsburgh, she said, I'm not allowed to ask her to fill up an application. Now, she's transferring her voucher from Pittsburgh to Montgomery County. So she gave me, I asked for the caseworker.
Yeah.
The caseworker number, and she sent me the caseworker number in Pittsburgh. So I said, you know what, for sport, I will call and I will ask her. First, like, they don't like to tell much in Section 8 because they always like to leave the landlord-tenant communication relationship out of the whole Section 8 program.
Okay.
But I called and I asked about it, and she said, no. If she's a Section 8 tenant, you are not allowed to ask her for an application. And I'm not sure how it works here.
I've never heard that. But I also don't have Section 8 tenants. Although, for this Philly property we're going to go see tomorrow, I'm open to having a Section 8 tenant for that.
Yeah.
Because at least this way, somebody will pay. And if they, Section 8 tends to stay for a while, don't they?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and then
Section 8 is not going anywhere.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere. And then plus they have that new, they just upped all the rents that you can get. So I'm willing to do whatever I have to, put a Section 8 tenant in there, and then this way it'll be done, and they hopefully won't have to deal with it again.
So Section 8 increased the rents every year. You need to go to a website called HUDuser, HUDuser.gov, and by the state, county, and the correct zip code, you can see how much Section 8 are willing to pay for a studio, 1, 2, 3, 4 bedrooms.
Yeah, somebody just posted that actually on our investor schooling Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and like the rents that I can get for where we're going tomorrow are actually pretty decent. So I think it's just they're actually pretty decent. So I don't think I would have that much trouble. So I'm definitely leaning towards getting a Section 8 tenant for that property, because then somebody will stay there and then I don't have to deal with it. And then I don't know, maybe this is the one property I have that I wish I sold last year. You know what I mean? Because, the prices were so crazy.
Because it's Philly, yeah.
Yeah, because it was Philly. I could have gotten... So for context, I bought this property on a tax deed auction. I buy a lot of my properties on tax deed auction. I bought this property for $60,000. Okay? It's a row home in Philly. It's in Overbrook section.
Okay.
Okay?
How much you had to put into it?
I probably put in another 60 to fix it.
Okay, 16?
60.
Okay.
60. I had to put a new roof on there. I had to replace all the wiring. It was all knob and tube wiring, so a complete new electrical system. I don't think I needed heating. I think the heating was actually okay.
And how much you can get for it right now?
I charge $1,650 for that one.
Okay.
3-bedroom, 1 bath. Everything's brand new. Everything.
So you're above the 1% rule, which is great.
I'm above the 1% rule. So with last year's prices, I could have sold it for $185.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, oh my gosh. And then I'm like, but the one thing I keep thinking about is that once you sell a property, you're not making money on it anymore. And I didn't want to not make money on it anymore. So I ended up deciding not to sell it.
Debbie, everything I sold in my life, and you know what? It's only 2 properties.
Yeah.
But everything I sold, I regretted it.
Yeah.
And regretted it so bad. I sold a triplex in Norristown, 3-studio triplex after COVID. And because it's studios, and I knew I would have a lot of turnovers, I didn't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
I was so fed up after COVID.
Yeah.
I was so fed up with the cold shoulder that this government showed us.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm not dealing with it. And we sold it to a guy, a very nice guy. He's actually a Philadelphia police officer.
Okay.
And we stayed friends. Okay, a very, very nice guy. So he kept my mailbox outside. Again, it's 3 apartments, and there was a small office, not so small, in the first floor that I used as my office. Okay? And my mailbox with my name is still on the building. Now, I have 2 more houses across the street. So I'm there a lot. And every time I go there and I see the mailbox and I see my name on the mailbox, it's like, why did I do that?
It's like a knife, yeah.
It's like a knife.
Yeah.
And I called him and I said, can you please remove the mailbox? He said, no. I said, just delete my name.
So that's what it is. Like I wish I sold it, but I knew that, and that was what was keeping me from not selling it, is because I knew once I sold it, I wouldn't make any money on it anymore. And at least now I'm making money on it. So and I say that all the time to our students. I'm like, once you sell a property, you're not making money on it anymore, and it's very frustrating. So I don't know. So I guess we should probably consider going to commercial, I think, right?
We can. Glenn, please take us to commercials.
Glenn, please take us to commercial.
This is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. Are you afraid of the great
You are clear, folks. Just give me a second, okay?
Thank you, Glenn.
schooling?
1 second.
How to own real assets like real estate, gold, silver, and other investments, including stocks, stock options, and even the basics of cryptocurrency. We even teach you how to pay thousands less in taxes legally. So go to investorschooling.com and find out how you can attend a complimentary class this Thursday. investorschooling.com. This is Larry Steinhaus, and you have probably heard my radio shows and listened to my great advice on how you can make more money and pay less taxes. Well, I just finished writing a book on all things I teach at Investor Schooling and on my radio shows. This book is called Money Hacks, and you want a copy of this book, and you can pre-order this book.
All right, everything's going well, guys. You ready to come back in about 30 seconds?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Okay. Sorry, I've got Frank on the line. You know how needy Frank is.
Frank?
For us?
No. I'm making a joke. I called him. I called Frank.
Okay.
It's nothing to do with you. It's nothing to do with your show. It's about the stuff coming up afterwards.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
All right. So we're coming back in 15 seconds.
Thank
About
you.
ready?
Sounds
Sure.
good. Thanks, Glenn.
All right. Here we go. No calls as of yet.
Okay.
So sad.
Coming back.
This Thursday, investorschooling.com.
I like the intro music, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's all good.
Hello and thank you for coming back to us. We are Investor Schooling Live, broadcasting to you from the Investor Schooling headquarters in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. You can call us anytime during the show at 855-939-1137, and I'm obligated by contract to say it also like this. 855-939-1137.
Do your sexy voice, Omri.
855-939-1137.
That's so funny.
Okay, so go into investorschooling.com and register yourself, sign up. How do you want to say that? Register? Register.
You need to say that, we're an investor school and we teach people how to make money, how to build wealth. We talk about real estate, stock options, and everything in between. We'll talk about trusts and infinite banking policies and just how to teach people how to become lenders. We teach people all about protecting their money, paying less taxes legally, and building your wealth, through real estate or stock options or other avenues. We have actually a lot of students who come in for one, tend to switch to another, and end up becoming private lenders. So we have a lot of students making some killer money on.
We had
private
many
lending deals.
success stories recently.
We do have a lot of success.
Yeah,
stories,
we had
so.
many success stories.
We have
recently.
one of our students just bought a bowling alley who we're super proud of. So I'm so
good.
proud of. Like, his name is Mitch, and Mitch is doing awesome. We're super proud of him. And then we also have Deb and Mel who bought a Fat Belly's Deli. So we're
Yes.
super excited for them. And I think they'll be closing on their bar soon, unless they have already. So we're super proud of them. And we do have a number of people who do private lending, who make killer money, like at 8% interest, which is fantastic.
Amazing.
And just our students do really well. So we get really excited to hear about their stories and let everybody know what they're doing.
Because we care.
Because we care.
We care.
And that's why that guy called me up and said, "Hey, Deb, you were always so nice to me. I have something for you."
When I started to hang out here, and Larry always used to say that he don't need the school. He do it because this is something
does it because he cares
for the
about- yeah.
soul. He care.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a cliche, but then you hang out and you see how he treat the people and how much he care and how much he kick them in the butt to go and do. And it's actually care.
Yeah, he does. So no, and we all do. So it's fun to see people doing well and succeeding, and just we have one guy who does wholesale deals. He made $75,000 this year in wholesale fees, just in wholesale fees.
Who? Glenn?
Not Glenn.
Glenn also did real good.
No, wholesale. Glenn. Oh my God, Glenn's made a killing this year.
I know.
Glenn's
Glenn
made a
also
killing.
made a lot of money.
Glenn made, I think, over 100.
I'm not
this
sure
year.
why he's not commenting
I don't know.
right
He
now.
usually says, get
deport,
rid of
deport Omri.
Deport
Yeah,
Omri. Deport the
exactly.
immigrant. So Glenn,
Yeah.
if you're listening, where the heck are you today?
Yeah,
But,
call us. Tell
yeah,
us
but-
your success stories.
Yeah, Glenn made a killer deal. I think he made 30 or 40 grand on the one deal. He made 70 on another.
I know.
I mean, he does really, really well. And then we have, I can't think of his name now. It escapes me. Who does all the wholesaling?
Who?
In Trenton. I can't. What's his
Bill Steiner.
name? No, that Bill Steiner.
Bill Steiner just
no.
did few in
But
Trenton.
he does really well too.
So I think the essence
I
is
can't think of his
yeah,
name.
exactly. We have so many success stories here at Investor Schooling that you
James.
really have. I don't know why people shout at me, James,
James,
but yeah,
James.
exactly. But be the next success story. come this Thursday to Investor Schooling here in Langhorne, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, and do the first step in your life to change all the financial education in your head.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. So what was interesting, you were saying before break about how you sold your triplex,
Yes.
and it was they were studios, right? You said studios.
Yeah, 3 studios.
Okay, so interestingly, it's like 2
Talk
days
to me.
ago. So you guys know I have some properties out in the Poconos. So somebody reached out to me. I have no idea how he got my email, but whatever he did, and he sent me some information on I think it's a 16 unit.
Ooh.
Yeah, and then another one is, it's a 16 unit that they can build to how is it? Like, it was 2 separate properties, because originally when he reached out to me, it was one property, and then he sent me 2 different properties. So one was a building that was already there, and another building that could be built that would end up being 20 units, I think. But I think 16 were already built, but they all need to be rehabbed. And then the other one was actually an old elementary school on a slant, on a building on a slant, and they are turning it into studios, 1-bedrooms, and there was 1 or 2 2-bedrooms. So I was looking at it, and I said, send me what you have. And I was looking at the pictures, and I saw some of the drawings that they had from the architect. This is how we plan on parsing it out. And I was looking, and then I'm like, well, what's the pricing on it? And he gives me this pricing, and he wanted. And I'm like, are these yours? Are they owned outright? And he said they're owned outright, like there's no mortgage on them. And I said, are you wholesaling these, or are these yours? And he says, I'm wholesaling them. And I'm looking at the numbers he wants. He wants something like $860 for the 1 unit. Mind you, all of these need complete full rehabs. They're not rented.
You said it used to be an elementary school. I'm not sure where the conversion stopped.
So no, the other building that was the 16 unit, and the second was 860. The other building wasn't built, and then I guess they have it planned out to have 2 parking two parking units, whatever there, parking lots. And the other one was that elementary school, and I think I want to say there was 3 or 4 units per floor, and it was 3 floors, so that would be 12. And he wanted $1.6 million for that, for the building. Interesting, right?
Yeah, when you consider that you will have there 20 units.
I don't know if it'd be 20. I don't know if it'd be 20 units there. I think that I have to go back and look at the numbers, but the numbers were off, because you would have to put at least $500,000 just to get all the rehab in.
I want to buy an elementary school. I want to run on the hallways that nobody will shout at me. It's exactly. I want to buy the elementary school right now.
Okay. So I'm going to bring this up, actually, Monday Night Mastermind.
Okay.
Because you know who I was thinking? I was thinking Bill might be a good person to talk to about this.
Steiner, yeah.
Yeah, because... So I was thinking that he would be a good person to talk to about it, because he would have more experience buying these types of properties than what I have. And plus, Larry's out of town.
He's so good at buying stuff.
Yeah, so I was thinking about talking to him about it. But I was going to bring up the 2 properties on Monday night to see... because I'm like, that's a possibility, Although, of course, my husband would kill me, because then those are going to... I was actually thinking about maybe your guy to rehab them, because they're not in the city where he's working right now.
So what's your experience with my guy?
So far,
with
so
my
good.
contractor?
So I'm going to...
Because you had hard time to... And I don't blame you. I understand that you've been through a lot with this property.
I have been.
And... one of the things people, I guess, don't get is how hard it is easy to deal with contractors every day. Yeah. And it's insane right now, because there is not sufficient working hands. And many contractors, many workers take advantage of this situation, unfortunately. And hopefully, I hope for you that you find the right person. And this project will be done.
So Tuesday, if you're free, but Tuesday I'm going to go down and look at the property and see all the work he's done. So, and he's supposed to, he said he'd be starting the electric and plumbing either this week or coming into next week.
Yes.
He said, because for those of you who don't know, it's a quad. So I guess I should back up. I have 2 lots that I own right next to each other. So the one lot I got, it has a duplex in the front that's already rehabbed and rented out. And then I have a quad in the back that is under rehab. And this is the one that I've had quite a bit of trouble with some of the contractors. But now we have Omri's friend who's down there working. And, I gave him we have our contract set in place and we have everything working, and he has some people who are living down there in that area so that they can be on the property every day and keep working. And they raised the foundation a little bit because there was some problems with the foundation. And yesterday I got a call from Home Depot that they were buying some cement, so I guess they're cementing stuff in place. And then when I met up with him on Tuesday, he said that he can get the plumber and electric starting up on the 3rd floor. So that should be going. And he said he was going to be buying some insulation to get that squared away. And he's working with the township's son, who I think is an electrician. I guess he's an electrician or a plumber or something. So hopefully,
there is a lot of ethics in this township.
Oh yeah, it's a complete joke.
So I will tell you that when I first met this contractor, we'll call him Sam because that's how he called himself.
Okay. Okay.
So when the first time I met him, I had exactly the same experience that you had. First of all, we started as friends.
Okay.
Okay, as another Jewish Israeli person that lives here and works here, and that's how I met the guy. And when it all started, when the whole thing started, and he came and he saw the project, and I told him what my budget, and he said, "I will help you. Don't worry." And he gave me a price, and I told him that I will give him an answer by tomorrow morning, and that's it. We didn't sign anything. He didn't ask for any money. The next morning, and you will find that a bit aggressive, without me agreeing for anything, without me telling him, "We're done, you can start work, this is your deposit." He called me from the house, and he said, "I'm here with 8 men, and we're clearing everything out. We are finished cleaning in an hour." So I tell my wife, "I'm leaving now. I'm not sure what is he doing." And I come to the house, and he was there with 8 people. My basement was clean, all the trash bag from the house. My previous guy was such a mess. He used to fill up trash bags and leave them in the house. He used to drink, I think we cleared hundreds of Bud Light cans from the house. And the guy was working. And I came here there the first day and I saw that, and he said, "Okay, let's do it." And he works, and in the end of the first day I came to him and he said, "Don't you want to sign anything? Don't you want to do anything?" He said, "Sure, yeah, send me a text and I will approve it." And I think that's the first experience you had with him. He came to you with a paper with many, maybe 20 words, and you said, "This is not a contract for a project like that."
Yeah, because
I know.
I questioned it, and I'm like, "What the heck is this?"
Exactly,
And
this is not a contract for a project
Yeah.
like that. But that's what I liked about him in the beginning. He don't care about the papers. He wants to work. He come and he start to work and he do what he's supposed to do, and it's all about trust. And this old-fashioned attitude made me fall in love with him. That's the truth.
Yeah. I definitely have my reservations because I've had such issues with contractors.
Yes.
But I do believe that Sam is, he's made a lot of steps to move forward on this, like you said, without my guidance at all.
Without getting a dime.
Yeah, so he set up his crew at a hotel. He went to the township and said, I need to do this, and this, and that. He was the one talking to the inspectors. He's the one who was talking to the inspector's son. He was the one who was finding lumber companies. He's the one who found other contractors for plumbing, electric, and has been. So a lot of these things he's just been doing, which has just been making my life much easier because I've had such difficulty with this. So the possibility that this place will finally be done.
Woohoo! We're waiting for it.
It's a weight lifted off my shoulders. I mean, the only concern I have is that, and I know this is going to sound terrible, so I've had so much stress with this property that I have been on the stress diet, and I've lost. You guys noticed I've lost a lot of weight because of it, because it's been very stressful. So my biggest concern is that now, if I'm not as under stress,
oh my God,
am I going to gain all the weight back? Because I like being a little bit slimmer, so I'm sure I'll find some other way to get myself under stress.
And you will have more rent income, so you will be able to afford fancy restaurants.
There you go.
That's the main problem.
So this property, when it's done, because the first to act is the first to win.
That's Amber. Yay!
That's
Amber said because the first to act is the first to win, and she's completely right. What is the sentence we have in our disclaimer, right?
If you do nothing,
If you do nothing, right? Everybody shout. All the class
results will
always
be
asks.
no- the
The
results
result
will
will be
be nothing.
nothing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
yeah. So
That's exactly that.
but once this property is done, I mean, it'll be worth a clear million.
Amazing.
You know, and then the rent on it will be at least 10,000 a month. So it's just a matter of getting this to. I mean, I almost see the light at the tunnel, and I'm a little scared to
jinx it.
jinx it.
I hear you.
You know what I mean? But oh my God, if this can finally get done and I can finally get it rented, I already have somebody who's been asking to move into one of the units, which is great.
You know how we're going to test it, right?
What's that?
That the work is good and that the foundation are not sinking and everything is perfect. You know how? We're going to do a party
Is that what it
on
is?
the third floor.
On the third floor.
Exactly. And we'll all jump and
There you
dance
go.
and everything. And if the foundation will stay where they are,
There you go.
you're good to go.
There you go.
That's exactly what we're going to do.
We'll have a big party on the third floor.
But anyway, do you also feel that something is a bit cooling down with the rental market?
Yeah, I think we were talking about that earlier.
Yes, a few weeks ago, I know.
So I'm hoping with these 4 units, so for context, these 4 units, it's one building, it's 4 units, and they're each 3 floors up. So it's like a tic-tac-toe, where one unit is at the corner and it goes all the way up to 3 floors, right? So it's 3 bedrooms, it'll be 1.5 baths, it's gonna have a walk-in closet and a washer and dryer, each of the 4 units. So they'll be nice, they should be really nice. And I'm hoping to get
New construction always is the first priority to anyone who is asking.
right.
for
So I mean,
place.
I'm thinking I should be able to get 1850 to 2000 per unit.
Amazing.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm hoping for the 2000 side, but I'd be happy with 1850.
Okay.
You know, and then like I said, everything in there will be new because some of the stuff I bought, you know, Sam was like, nope, we're not using that. I'm like, which was a little frustrating, and Larry kept warning me to not buy stuff and whatever. I did what I did, but
I told you, for example, about the pedestals.
yeah,
The pedestal always look bad. They always look like
I thought it would be nice. I thought they'd be a nice touch, but
maybe in the half.
whatever. So I do have butcher block countertops.
Ooh.
So
Real butcher block?
Real butcher block. So they're actually at my house. We have to tell Sam to come get them.
Okay.
I actually have 6 of them. I bought 6 just in case some of them had to be cut up. And used
How
extra.
long?
I believe they are 11 or 12 foot long.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that should be plenty. You know, it should be plenty.
Yeah, you just need to make sure you put lacquer on them or any kind of protection.
Yeah, something on
So
them.
exactly,
Yeah.
because sometimes people believe because it's a butcher block, you can cut your tomatoes and everything directly on the wood, and the butcher block wood can still get stained
Yeah,
by anything that got spilled on it.
yeah. So I'm assuming Sam will do that or no?
I think so. We'll
Yeah,
see.
I would
We'll
think
figure it out.
I would think so. But I do have 6 of them, and they're sitting in my house.
Do it.
And I need to so remember I was saying that I have the lot next door.
Yes.
So I already have the approval, and I already have initial architectural drawings for another 4 unit there.
Mm-hmm.
And those 4 units will be like townhouse style. So they'll each have 2 garages, and they'll also be 3 floors. So 3 bedrooms, 2 1.5 baths with a
Closed
washer and dryer.
garages.
And they'll have garages in them.
Wow.
Yeah. So then that whole complex will be 10 units there. So it'll be once
It
it's
will
done.
be amazing.
Once it's done, it'll be amazing. So,
I know.
But I don't know if they're. I thought Sam had to sign a contract saying that he's not allowed to work in that city or something anymore.
So I think they are, because I'm not sure what's going on with this city.
Yeah, it's
I
a
think
terrible
they
city.
are very strict with new people. Maybe they try to keep their current contractors. I have no idea how it works
Yeah.
there. I believe that once he will crack this house and they will see his work and he will pass inspection, that I don't think they can tell him you can't work in our township.
Does he do buildings from the ground up?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I mean, so that's where I was going,
So
right?
it should be good.
So the question is if I look into that elementary school and that other unit that I was telling you about to rehab, if I decide to go that route, I don't know. Because, like I said, I wanted to get somebody else's advice on that because I'll be the first to admit that's over my head.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that would be nice, you know, and if not, then because I still need to get that other building built right next door.
Yes.
So, you know, it'll be one or the other. But if I can have Sam work on one or both of the, you know what I mean? So I know that he has 4 people on site now, and he said starting this week he'll have 6 people on site at the quad getting it fixed up.
So I know you just mentioned it that your husband is not very supportive in
No.
what you do
No,
with the properties.
no.
Yes. I have a question for you. What about your kids?
My kids, how do I answer this question? So my youngest daughter, she's very supportive and she thinks it's really cool that
Okay.
I'm doing these things. And my oldest is always like, I'm really big into affirmations. You know what an affirmation is?
Yeah.
So I'm really big into affirmations, and I have affirmations all over my office wall.
Mm-hmm.
And my daughter, who goes to college, she goes to Penn State. She has picked that up from me, and she has affirmations all over her wall as well. So she realizes that affirmations really do help, right? So I always say the world is conspiring to make me happy and successful. Believe and it will come. What you need will come. I have up there. I have a whole bunch of affirmations. I think I did a whole presentation on some of the affirmations that I
Yes.
have up there. And my youngest, she wrote me a goal, and she gave me you know those stones that you get at like the Indian place at the
Yes. Yes.
mall, and it says goal. on it.
Inspiration.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're all
I know
inspirational
exactly.
ones, right?
Yeah.
So she gave me a box. What is it called? A shadow box.
Okay.
Yeah, and then she wrote a nice little note in there, and it has the goal stone in there, and it
Okay.
was just so my girls are very supportive of me, and they think what I'm doing is really incredible, which is really cool to hear and see. Because I guess I never thought much about it. Like, I know they always say that your kids are watching.
No,
and
but they
pay
show
attention.
interest in this field because one day,
So no, so my
maybe
old-
one day they will want to continue what you're doing.
I don't know. So my oldest doesn't show a lot of interest, but she thinks what I'm doing is like, she's like, yeah, you're successful. And I'm like, okay. My youngest shows a little bit more interest because she came to class. Remember, she came to class a couple weeks
Yes,
ago, and
yes.
she's like, and she writes me this note during class. She's like, wow, this is economics part 2.
101, yeah, exactly.
Because she was learning economics in school, and she's like, well, my teacher did this and my teacher did that. I'm like, you're not going to do that, and I will not let you do that, and this is what you're going to do. And she's like, what do you mean? I said, come to class. And she came to class, and she's like, and then she writes that note. She was writing tons of notes,
Yeah.
and it was great because she's like, wow, I didn't know about all this stuff. I'm like, I know, because they don't teach it, which is things that we teach at the school. So I do think that my youngest has some interest, and I think that she's a senior in high school, and she goes to school for fine woodworking. So she's going to probably move out to Lancaster or something in the next year. And I think that she'll be the one she's looking at apartments, but she's like, can you help me buy a house? And I'm like, yeah, we'll get you set up in a house, and you can either get a duplex and rent out one side, or you can rent some out to college, whatever. We'll figure it out. But she shows a little bit more interest
Okay.
in all this finance stuff. My oldest one, not so much, but my youngest one does.
So with everything that's going on in my country, it's not fun right now.
No.
It's not fun right now at all. Many of you know, and many of you don't. I originally came from Israel, and my daughter, she's 7, and
Yeah.
she started to ask questions.
Yeah.
She started to ask questions, I think, following some conversation I had with my parents and my sister there, and trying to convince them, like, to take a break of a month or 2 because the schools are closed, many jobs, many offices are closed. They tell people to work from home and all that. It's not a life anybody should experience. Exactly. So I guess she heard some of those conversations. She came to me and she said, what will happen when we won't be there, when I won't be there anymore? Maybe she meant when I will die.
Okay.
And we started to talk about that, and I told her, like, I hope that you or Oz is my son, will continue what I'm doing. And the conversation became, from that point, that was maybe a bit emotional, the conversation became more educational.
Mm-hmm.
She said that when it will happen, she will sell all the properties and she will have a lot of money. And I said, okay. I'm reminding you, she's 7.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, so you will have a lot of money. And then what? You will spend the money over years, and then you will be out of money. And then what will you do? I said, I don't know. And I said, okay, so think about maybe not selling the properties and continue dealing with that.
So I see your point. I guess I have mixed feelings on this.
Yes, I understand that.
I do. I want my daughters to be successful, and my big thing is that I always wanted them to be self-sufficient. And self-sufficient and what I mean by that is not reliant on a man. You know, like I was never reliant on a man. never since I moved out when I was 17, and I've never been back. And I was always out on my own doing whatever it is I wanted. And I want my daughters to have that same freedom.
Or a woman, by the way. You can't say a man anymore.
Whatever. Woman. I'm talking about my daughters.
No,
And
I know. They
are
can
women.
stay. They can stay. Rely on a woman.
Omri, let me go with this. Okay. So anyway, so my big thing is I want my girls, my daughters, to be self-sufficient. So I want them to have a job where they are not reliant on a man. That's something that's really important to me. So whatever that job is, I don't care. You know what I mean? I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, other than within reason, clearly. But I mean, I want them to have.
Don't complete the word.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. But I want them to not be reliant on me, and I want them to be self-sufficient. Now, do I want them to take over my properties, and do I want them to do what I'm doing? I only want them to do that if it's something they want, because I've seen a lot of people just carry on what their parents were doing, but not because they want to, but because they feel obligated. And I don't think that's a life for somebody.
I agree.
Mean, I've seen people do that. Well, my dad had this business and I just took it on, and that's not what they want to do with
We
life.
saw it all the time.
Yeah. So I don't. That's why I listen to what you're saying. So if your daughter decides to grow up and she wants to be a veterinarian, then have her be a veterinarian.
Again, she's 7. I think it's
I
very
understand.
early. But just the understanding, the belief you told about how you showed your daughter, she's a grown-up right now, how...
Well, she's a teenager.
She's more than a teenager.
Yeah, well, yeah. She's they're 17 and 19, so they're young
exactly.
adults. Young
So
adults.
how much the financial understanding she had from school or from the college is different than what we know, and what to us works much, much better.
Yeah.
I think that's the point.
That's the point. Yeah, that's what I think maybe that's what you're trying to say.
Look long lasting. Don't look for a year or 2 years. Look like very, very long lasting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
It was a pretty boring show.
It was.
It was a pretty boring show.
I don't know if I can hang out with you anymore, Albert.
Me
it's just
too.
too
Me
much.
too. We we should do it over coffee in a coffee shop next time. Not on the radio.
So Amber says, for some reason, we all want our own things, and following our parents doesn't always feel like our own. Now, I agree. That's what I guess that's why I say that, because my dad was he was like a chemical engineer, and I had absolutely no interest in that. My mom was like a glorified secretary, and that's not a life I wanted. But and they were immigrants also. I was the first one born here in the U.S. and they never thought anything about having a business or anything like that.
So thank you very much to listening to us today. We are Investor Schooling Live. Please log on to investorschooling.com and register to this Thursday night class. We'll be very, very happy to see you there. And thank you for listening.
And a big shout out to Glenn for being an awesome producer as always. We love it when you're on, and look forward to seeing you again soon.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
This program is paid for by Investor Schooling. All opinions or statements
Okay, stand by.
Investor Schooling or their guests and do not reflect the opinions of WPHT or Odyssey.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.